everyone, my name is Abigail Johnson, and tonight I'm going to speak to you about how to recognize a cult. I'm sure most of you and your friends have played around with the saying, "Don't drink the Kool-Aid." However, many do not know the horrific story behind it. From the Jonestown Massacre, where the saying comes from, to the dangerous events by the KKK, cults have been viewed as dangerous to be involved in. I will be pointing out some characteristics of these groups, so you can be cautious if you ever encounter one. By knowing this information, you'll be able to have a better understanding of these groups. Some do positive for the communities, but most do not. The cult leaders are the ones who have the most power and abuse it. By knowing their intentions for the group will expose them for what they really are. Looking back at the history of cults, they have made a huge impact on today's popular religions. The word cult meant different things in different eras, however, and it first showed up in 1617 as a word for a type of worship. I'm sure most of you have heard of the popular religion Mormonism, founded by Joseph Smith. To his own use of power, Smith told people in his community that he received messages from God about the end days. This stirred up fear in the community and caused the cult to begun. Yes, being a Mormon in the 19th century was considered being a member of a cult. Now the Latter-day Saints are a part of the world's most popular religion. Being a Mormon back then was considered a more healthy religious group, however. But groups such as the KKK were not. The Ku Klux Klan came into existence after the Civil War. This cult was made up of white Southerners who had a hate for African Americans. They believed that African Americans were overrunning America, and their leaders manipulated them into taking cruel actions such as murder. Even today, the KKK is still alive, but not as many people are involved in it, thank goodness. Just think, there are hundreds of groups out in the world threatening us. This is why it is important for us to be cautious about them. The blame should be put on the leaders of these groups. One of the most popular leaders throughout the whole world was a man named Adolf Hitler. His group, the Nazis, were one of the most dangerous cults during World War I, killing over 1 million people, mainly Jews, just because of one man's beliefs. Hitler, however, is a perfect example of how not to be a leader, because in the end, both his family and himself lost their lives because of his lust for power. Speaking of leaders who lost their lives because of their delusional beliefs, Jim Jones in the 1950s through 70s led a group of people into what he thought was a perfect life, but he was proven wrong. Founded in 1956, the People's Temple was a racially integrated church that focused on helping those in need. Established in Indianapolis, Indiana, it was then moved to Redwood Valley, California in 1966. This is when the cult started to gain popularity. Jones was obsessed with the vision of a community that worked in harmony and lived together and treated each other as equals. Sounds nice, right? Well, it wasn't. When Jones led some of his followers to the South American country, for a while Jones' new land was under construction, only 50 people resided there while Jones stayed in the U.S. But that all changed when Jones' plans were being uncovered. Jones and several hundred of his followers flew to the South American country, and things were not as expected. There were not enough rooms for everyone, so they were overcrowded, and everyone had to share bunk beds. The cabins were even segregated by gender, so families were split apart. This means that even husband and wives were separated from each other. Jones required his followers to work 12-hour days at night, and after an exhausting day, they would lay down to sleep, and they would hear Jones endlessly speaking nonsense through the intercom. Many people got sick and even died because of the harsh conditions, mainly because of the heat and also the amount of space. Jones even had bodyguards to stop people from leaving. U.S. Representative Leo Ryan heard the reports of bad things happen in Jonestown, so he went there to see it for himself. At first, everything seemed fine, until at a dinner, Ryan received notes from people who wanted to leave, and they told him that they were being held at their own will. While leaving to the airport, the ones who wanted to leave went with Ryan on the truck. While they were driving on the truck, they were being attacked by the People's Temple guards. No one got hurt until they reached the airport, where there was a second attack. That day, 5 people died, including Congressman Ryan. After hearing news about this, Jones ordered everyone to the pavilion. He manipulated the group into thinking they were going to be attacked by the government. He ordered them to drink a solution of cyanide, Valium, and drink mix. Hence, "Don't drink the Kool-Aid" came from. If they did not drink it, his guards with the weapons would convince them to. That day, 912 people died. Mothers, fathers, grandmothers, and even helpless innocent babies were forced to drink the poison. Jones was found dead with a bullet through his head and the gun in his hands. It is a sad story, but reality. History has many similar stories like Jonestown Massacre, but it's important to prevent them from happening. Some few characteristics founded by Stephen Shoemaker in the book 10 Marks of Religious Cults are there for you to look at to see what a cult is all about. Some of these characteristics are when the cult have an almost godlike leader, the group provides an escape from reality, they are thriving in secrecy, breaking moral laws, abusing people, and even using scripture to defend truths. Having a leader with a godlike attitude over his followers shows that he has selfish intentions. Also, if the cult provides an escape from reality, this shows that most of what the cult relies on is a fantasy and there are no reality checks. So this can cause many false perceptions. One major characteristic of unhealthy cults is them thriving in secrecy. Obviously, they are involved in things they don't want the public to know about. And this is where the abuse takes place. Lastly, using scripture to back up beliefs. Most cult followers were Christians before they entered in the cult. And when they see their leader using scripture, they believe that he is a godly man and he's doing his intentions for the right reasons. It can also tend many of the followers to believe that the leader is God, which is totally wrong. These characteristics now inform you on why these groups are dangerous. You are able to recognize them and maybe inform your peers. We do not want a rerun of the past, so it is important we prevent these unhealthy groups from having any effect on our society. We want to be able to work together in a positive way instead of a delusional one, so we can make a good difference in the world. Thank you for listening.